I am. And that's why, like, I wanted to ask you about your ayahuasca trip because I know you went down to, was it Brazil or what was
Mexico.
That? Mexico.
Yeah.
And how was that? Were you in like an actual like forest or how did that go down?
Yeah, middle of the forest. It was actually one of my agency clients at the time invited me like 6 months before. It was like an invitation only sort of place.
And what year was this?
It was actually 2019/2020. I was basically in a ceremony going into 2020.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy time to go.
It was Mexico and I was in ceremony and maybe we were like an hour and a half, or no, 2 hours in or something, and I could hear crack, crack, you know,
wow.
Like I could hear the far distance, I could hear like fireworks going off and stuff like that. So yeah, 2019/2020. Yeah.
And so, what was that experience like?
Oh man, it's such a long conversation. I have a YouTube video on it, but like some of the highlights was playing with my son. I don't have a son, by the way.
Wow.
But I played. It was weird. I actually I was me playing with my son, but then I was also weirdly my son at the same time looking at me as a father.
You were your son too?
Yeah, like I experienced it through the eyes of my son, and then basically my son just that sort of re-sparked like basically my son reminded me, look, no matter what happens in life, never lose your childlike spirit. Because I think 2019 was probably the year that I was the most callous. Like I was the most like, even my friends and like my girlfriend were like, they're like, when you speak to me, you don't, or when I speak to you, you don't, I can tell you're looking at me, but you're not looking at me, you're looking behind me. Like you're thinking about something totally, like you're not there. Like that was the year that I was probably the most autistic, so I think, probably that's why that came about. There's a whole host of things that I took from it, but it's one of those where, look, if you need a little bit of direction in your life, look, I did LSD for the first time when I was 15.
Damn, that's early.
Bro, I did everything super, like I grew up super, super quick in all areas of my life. So I did LSD for the first time when I was 15. So, I was very used to psychedelics and all that sort of stuff. But I haven't done psychedelics in, I don't know, maybe like 10 months or something. But like the last time I did psychedelics was like it was a bunch of us. We were on a yacht and it was a little bit more of like a fun experience.
Yeah.
But the last time I seriously did psychedelics for like introspection was, I don't know, maybe like a year and a half ago. Like I think psychedelics is one of those things if you're kind of like need some direction in life, if you don't know what the next step is, it makes sense. If you know what the next step is, you don't need anything coming in and changing your course of action. If you already have a clear plan of what your next few steps are and you don't feel lost in life. Right. And I'm at a point in life where like, I know what the next few steps are. I'm not, I don't need psychedelics to, give me some of the answers or help me come to some of the conclusions.
Well, I've heard a lot of people say that when they take it, they'll come out of it and then they'll stop like even going after money anymore. Like, was there any of that feeling at all in any of your trips?
No, because most people are going after money for money. I'm not going after money for money.
What are you going after money for?
Fulfillment.
Interesting.
Not from the money, but because what I do brings me money, which brings me fulfillment. There's actually, I've been having this conversation with you. Like, for example, I'll use the word happiness, but I think happiness is a farce. I don't believe it exists. Like, basically, what most people want is either they want peace, fulfillment, or joy. Like, someone's like, oh, when was the last time you were happy? I don't remember a time I was ever happy ever. I don't think I don't know what happiness feels like. It's nothing to me. I know times I felt fulfilled or times I felt at peace or times that I felt joy. I don't know a time that I felt happiness. I don't know what that is. I think most people think happiness is pleasure. So I know a time I felt joy. I know what fulfillment feels like. I know what peace feels like. I know what joy feels like. And I know what pleasure feels like. I don't know what happiness feels like. I don't think I've ever felt happy. I felt those things because I think those are real. Because I think people take those four and then they call it happiness. Whereas most people don't understand that each one of those feelings directly is in conflict with the other. If you want to feel fulfilled, you won't feel at peace. Because for me, or at least in that specific moment, because for me, fulfillment comes from doing hard things. When you're doing hard things, you're not at peace. You don't feel peace. When you're running a marathon, you don't feel very peaceful. When you're running a marathon, you don't feel necessarily, for the most part, like pleasure or joy, but at the end of it, you feel fulfilled. Right. When you're feeling pleasure, and we all feel pleasure at some,
oh yeah.
You need to feel some pleasure in your life, but when you're feeling pleasure, you're not necessarily fulfilled. Like Let's say you're with a nice lady. I can't say that like, you know, you're with a nice lady for the night. I can't say you're like, oh, that was so fulfilling, you know, or that was peaceful, you know. But then, as I said, I just think each one directly conflicts with the other. So yeah, for me, like the thing that I'm optimizing for is fulfillment. So for me, I never viewed money as like, oh, I'm not happy because of money, or I never came out of like any sort of psychedelic experience and I'm like, I don't want to make more money, because I'm like, I know what makes me fulfilled and I'm going to continue to do it and I'm going to make money as a result of it.
Yeah.
Now, if I was in a different line of work, maybe the thing that makes me feel fulfilled doesn't bring me any money. You know, let's say, you know, I get my fulfillment. Let's say my burning passion in life is to be a ping pong player.
Fuck yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's some ping pong players who make decent money, like good money, but
they're all in Japan or
you know,
China.
you're not going to become like a big baller, right? But if I knew that was the thing that made me fulfilled, I would just keep playing ping pong. I wouldn't care how much money I made, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah.